Logan and his camp and whatever paid off Floyd to just not turn up and go all the way out, and to give him a fighting chance, so people in the fighting industry and the boxing industry would actually take Logan serious.
Girls who like girls, white girls, hair twirl, exotic girls around the world, we be partying, it's real. She said I need to keep you around cause baby I can't get enough. When you living like the one, you already know they fall in love. Took you on last night.
What's poppin', Shinobi gang? Y'all already know what time it is. You read the title, you saw the description, you know what's about to happen. Pretty much, we're gonna be breaking down somewhat and dissecting this Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, or should I say Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul? I don't know which way to word it or whatever. I'd like to word it with the professional boxer, his name first, because he's being challenged, or should I say Logan? I don't know. See, it's one of those things that's very like, if you really think too much into it, you'll waste a lot of time on it, just like you just saw me do. So this is what we're gonna look at right here. So as you can see, we got some statistics on the screen. Now, I want to, before I even jump into the stats or into the highlights or into anything like that, I just want you to know the stats are here. Before we even jump in, I want y'all to see the stats. Then we're gonna talk about some of the highlights and everything else. So let's go ahead and check out the highlights real quick and see what we got going on, because this was a pretty interesting fight. And I'm not gonna lie, a couple times I was watching and I was like, ooh, and then I kept saying like, at round this or round that, he's gonna turn up and like knock this dude out or some shit like that. That's what I thought was gonna happen, but most of us probably thought the same thing, those of us that did see it. But I gotta say, Logan came a long way from fighting fucking KSI to fighting one of the greatest of all time. So we gonna watch this. Check this shit out, man. Look at him. We're going for body shots. It just looks crazy to even see a fight like this. Like, let's be real. It just looks crazy to even see, because the size difference is so ridiculous, bro. It's like crazy. I actually just made it just now, so look, as you can see, he starts turning up and throwing some punches here and there, and I'm thinking like, oh snap, like he about to actually go in, but it looked like he was pulling his punches, like he was just testing Logan or toying with Logan or something along those lines. I mean, I couldn't really tell. I didn't watch all 50 or 51 of Floyd Mayweather's fights, but I did watch a couple of them. And I mean, I gotta say, I've seen him do much better, but then again, the dude pretty much retired a long time ago and wasn't supposed to be fighting anybody anymore. Now, something that I speculated with me and my girl is that it's possible that Logan and his camp and whatever paid off Floyd to just not turn up and go all the way out, and to give him a fighting chance, so people in the fighting industry and the boxing industry would actually take Logan serious. So I'm not sure, but it looked like he pulled his punch there. Like he went in and then it looked like he just, look, not that. Look, that right there. Like, what was that? It wasn't even, there was no follow through or nothing. That could have connected and everything. The reaction speed was like mad slow on Logan's part as well. So it's like, that could have been a nice hit, but I guess we dragging stuff out. This is round one, right? And I mean, if you ever watch Floyd Mayweather, you know Floyd Mayweather likes to let people tire themselves out occasionally, time and time again. We've seen that, and people call it running around or dancing around the ring or whatever, but I mean, it's a solid, I would say like a solid strategy when you're trying to let your opponent tire themselves out and then you just turn up on them last second. But also it's risky, because if you get overwhelmed too much, there was one point, I'm gonna find it. I'm about to find it. All this hugging and shit, man. I'm gonna find this. Where is it? It's this one point where Logan just starts wailing on him, and I'm just like, bruh, right here. I'm like, bruh. I'm like, what the f are you doing, Floyd? Get out of there. Yeah, it looked crazy, right? We're not gonna watch all this highlights and shit though. I just wanted to touch base on some of the things that we saw in this. We skip ahead a bit. So when we look at the stats later, I want you to also notice that a lot of the quote-unquote punches that Logan threw were somewhat fakes, and it looked like he was kind of feeling out like if he was gonna have openings or reaction speed as far as that. I mean, to see Logan go from where he went which looked like somebody who couldn't fucking fight at all, to be honest with you, to someone who actually seems like they know what the fuck they're doing right now. It's very interesting to see. And I gotta say, like, I'm happy for the dude, man. No lie. I'm happy for the dude. Yeah, I could see it being rigged as well, man. I don't know. Part of me wants to think that Logan was actually trying, but maybe not too hard. Because if you think about it, somebody comes out of retirement to fight you. Like, you would think that, especially with someone that's your idol and you look up to, you're not going to really be trying to, like, humiliate them either. So it seems like both of them might have just been taking it easy and just putting on something for entertainment. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts. I mean, depends. If Floyd was trying to kill him, then I'm sure Logan probably would have been trying, like, his hardest too. Or maybe this was his hardest. I don't know. I can't fucking judge it. I don't watch, like, the dude box or nothing like that. But I gotta say, like, this was an interesting fight. So let's skip ahead a bit. Near like the end rounds is where Floyd kind of turned up a bit as well. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, a couple rounds I thought Logan, I was like, yeah, Logan might have had that one, you know what I mean? Because Floyd didn't really throw any punches, like, in some of those rounds. Like, oh, right here is where I was like, yeah, he's just letting him tire himself out, because at one point he walks up with his guard up and just literally does nothing, just keeps walking up with his guard up to let him just throw mad punches and tire himself out, and then he just starts dodging and ducking and shit and weaving his punches and shit. So I don't know, I was a little like upset because I was like yelling at the screen like, let's go, like, come on, what is this? These are some nice punches and coming from Logan, and a nice return also coming from Floyd. I mean, listen, I am no fucking boxing commentator, I am no boxing like professional, none of that shit. I know how to fight. I've been in martial arts my entire life. I gotta say, this fight was it was pretty decent. It wasn't as bad as a lot of people are making it sound. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've been all over Twitter looking at some of the stuff that people have been saying, and they've been making this fight sound like really bad, like it was so garbage. Like, it's just because they didn't get what they wanted. They expected to come to a fight and watch one of them get knocked out, or watch two dudes just knock each other all around. But I guess when you're a little bit more experienced in boxing, it's not always about going for the knockout. This was a strategic way of making that bag. That's what I really think. It was like more about the money, more about like gaining like money and entertaining the fans than anything else, I gotta say. So we're not gonna really get into the whole entire highlight clip here. You know, like, I just wanted to pull up some of the highlights and let us just like kind of review and look at a couple of the things. By the way, there was a shit ton of hugging in this fight, and there was also this one point where Logan threw a punch and this part of his arm like hit Floyd in the head, and I was like, damn. And I thought it was gonna hurt him or something, but it didn't even seem to faze him. I mean, surprisingly. But so it was a lot of hugging though. You see a whole lot of that, a shit ton of hugging and shit like that. So look, let's get to the stats, because we're not gonna spend all day talking about this. We got other shit to do today too. The stats: 40% of all the punches that Floyd Mayweather threw connected, and only 13% of Logan's connected. And I mean, look, Logan's new to boxing somewhat and everything, so I mean, of course, and he's fighting against one of the greatest like boxers of all time, possibly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't really expect him to be landing too many punches when that's Floyd's specialty. It's his speed, agility, and his ability to dodge. You know what I mean? And it seems like Floyd throws less punches on purpose so he can get things like this to pop up on the scorecard. The ones that he does throw, they're like for sure and they connect. By the way, look at this guy right here. Doesn't that kind of remind you of like Some Ordinary Gamers, like the YouTube channel? What is his name? I forgot the dude's name. Michael or something? No, Mudahar. That's his name. This dude kind of Mudahar was at the Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fight. That's crazy. But so look, according to stats, of course, some people are gonna say Mayweather won. What I have to say is this: I'm not going off of the stats, because this is clearly stats that are comparing a very experienced fighter to someone who's like new into the sport. What I will say is that let's just look at their faces. Look at their faces at the end. That's all I want us to do. Let's just take a look. Who's swollen up? Who's looking like jacked up and messed up? Like, we gotta be real about it, man. You got like fucking black eyes and shit. I ain't gonna lie, there's a vein and whatever popping out in his head. I mean, you gotta look who's fucked up. That's just my whole thing. You didn't even get to see. Look right here. This man is really looking like it hurt. I would have hated to been the one on the receiving end of those punches from Floyd Mayweather. No lie. I would have hated it. I'd have been honored, but I would have hated it because damn, like, you could seriously get hurt fucking around with this dude. My whole thoughts is, I think it was a great fight on both people's part, and I think part of the reason why they didn't allow any judges or anything like that was because they left it up to the fans and the people that watched to speculate and decide for themselves who do we think won or who won and whatnot. And I gotta say, in my opinion, I think they both won. That's it. Like, there's no loser in this. Like, no matter how beat up you got, no matter how, even if somebody would have got knocked out, there's no way you can lose when you make this much fucking money off of a fight and you have the fucking Migos pulling up to your boxing event and performing for you. Wild. There's no losing. There's no losing. And it was like a smart move on their part. So I gotta say, like, claps for these niggas. They really, like, they doing their thing right here. One can only hope. This is the dream for a lot of YouTubers to like make it big and then be able to put on like pay-per-view events or things of that nature. It's like, this is the dream. So why is Logan a boxer now? I don't know, but it's new interest. I mean, we can't box people in. Like, that's one thing about when you discover someone that is so easy to do is to box them in and to you only know this person as this or that, so they can only ever be this or that. So you only knew him as a vlogger or YouTuber, and now it's like it feels kind of wrong, right? Because you're seeing him as a boxer or something else. People can pick up new hobbies. People can pick up new skills and things like that, and that's what we have to keep in mind. As human beings, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing, we're ever changing, and you know, you're gonna find more interests and niches and things like that in life. Like, come on, who thinks that I'm gonna fucking play Smash Bros for the rest of my life? Well, actually, who the fuck am I kidding? I'm going to play Smash Bros for the rest of my life. But the point is who thinks that that's going to be my only, like, the only thing I do in entertainment wise? And it's like, it wouldn't even make sense to assume that somebody's only going to do one form of entertainment. But I guess that's what we're used to seeing, right? We grow up, we see like people like Dave Chappelle, they become a comedian, and then you expect them to only be a comedian. Or you see like a basketball player or a football player and you expect them only to do those things. But lo and behold, behind the scenes, most of these guys are doing other shit that they're just not publicizing. Like, that's really the truth about him. Those are my thoughts, though. The fight was very interesting, to say the least. It had me on the edge of my seat. At some points, I guess, like, my expectations made me like be a little bit disappointed about the fight, but other than that, I was entertained because I was still like wondering what the fuck is gonna happen, who's gonna knock out who, is this really gonna happen? And it's like the whole height and weight disadvantage was like, I don't know, I guess you gotta say it was a fair 1-to-1 type thing when you fight somebody that's that experienced, professional as hell, and literally like one of the greatest of all times. And you know, you got this height advantage and weight advantage. It's interesting to see, and it kind of reminds me of this video I saw on YouTube of these this dojo where they were doing karate, and it was this like 250-pound bodybuilder dude, and he was tall as shit, versus like this like 130-pound black belt, and dude was like small, like 5'4" or some shit like that, and he beat the crap out of the bodybuilder dude. Like, nigga got his ass whooped. No lie. Couldn't even do shit about it, for real. So it kind of reminded me of that video, but at the same time, that's not what happened here. It was like a pretty even fight, like, let's be real. But those are my thoughts. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know, who do you think won and how much money y'all think they made off of this fight. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this shit. If not, hit the dislike button. Interact with it in some way, shape, or form. I don't really give a which one it is, as long as you do it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
You be all around, you be lost and found. I like girls who like girls, white girls, hair twirl, exotic girls around the world. We be partying, it's real. She said I need to keep you around, cause baby I can't get enough. When you living like the one, you already know they fall in love. Took you home last night, got mad at me.